Yep, we managed to do it again. Once again, the internet is split on if we loved Relationship Goals, the movie, or if we hated it. Either way, there's some things that I want to talk to you specifically about from a licensed relationship therapist perspective. And you already know I got to give my personal perspective at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that too. I got a lot to say about DeVon Franklin and Mike Todd. But before I get into any of that, I need for you to put in the comment section, are you someone who enjoyed this movie, or you someone who hated it, or are you kind of in the middle? Let's chat about it in the comment section. The first thing that I want to talk about from a licensed therapist perspective is the fact that sometimes in relationships, one partner has to be on the verge of losing the other before they get themselves together. We saw this with Brenda, and I believe his name was Aiden in this movie, right? We're going to talk about Kelly and Method Man in a little bit. But we saw this with this couple. She was with her boo, whatever, for 6+ years. She wanted marriage. He really didn't. But when she put her standard up, when she put her foot down and said, hey, I want marriage, and if you don't want that, we can't be shacking up and doing stuff together because I'm trying to get right with God and I want him to be the center of this relationship. Baby, they broke up, went separate ways, did all of the things. And then when he realized that he was about to lose her for good, guess what he did? He proposed. She said, yeah, but he also proposed. The reason why I wanted to start with this one, because I see this in real life working with couples all of the time. For some reason, we wait until the relationship is about to fall apart, that we're about to lose the other person. They've been telling us this is what they want. They've been telling us to fix this, get it right, change, improve, do all of these things. And it literally takes them walking away from the relationship or about to walk away from the relationship permanently for the other person to get themselves together. It shouldn't be that way. If you really love someone, you will work on those things throughout the relationship so it won't get to the point where the relationship is dissolved and then you have to make that ultimatum essentially. But on this channel, we talk about how you're supposed to be on the same page from the beginning as much as possible in a relationship. It shouldn't be, oh yeah, I don't know what we're doing, and then 3 years into the relationship, you want to get married knowing the other person never wanted to. That's going to cause conflict. So be certain, know your non-negotiables and don't waver on those things. No matter how much you love them. At the end of the day, what's love got to do with it? Got to do with it, got to do with it. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is what Kelly Rowland, or Leah, experienced in this movie. And she was so bent and so focused on her career that she neglected other areas of her life. I take that back. I'll say it like this. She avoided other areas of her life. And if you think about it, she basically kind of put her dating relationship stuff to the side because she wanted to be the showrunner for the morning show. She put all of her eggs in this basket. She was devoted to her career and to her job and all of those things. But she was also running from that void, from those feelings of loss and grief that was coming up on her because of the loss of her mom. I get it. Like when you lose somebody, especially a parent, and especially a parent that you were tight and locked in with, it does something to you, right? It makes you feel like, oh, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to feel those emotions. I don't want to do any of those things. Let me just do something to keep me distracted. But in the long run, it doesn't really help you because you're just burying those feelings and eventually they're going to come up and come to the surface. And that's why Kelly Rowland needed to go through the 5 stages of grief successfully in order to make sure that she's getting to a spot where she's processing through whatever happened with her mom and losing her mom. And if I'm being honest, me and you probably done did the same thing too, right? It may not be a death, but I know for a long time in my career, and I'm telling on myself, so I hope y'all are okay with this, but for a long time in my career, once I graduated from grad school and I was on the verge and just on my way to get licensed and collecting hours and doing all of the things and building my private practice and, you know, wearing all of the many hats that I do, I put my dating life to the side. I was like, baby, I ain't got time for these men. I'm focused on this bag. I'm building my career. I'll do that later. And when I look back on it now, I wish I would have done those things simultaneously, if I was being honest with you. Yeah, I dated along the way, but nothing stuck. And so I wish that I was like, okay, building my career and also giving energy to my love life. And I think that's probably one of the regrets of me looking back on that time frame. And if I had to do something differently, that's something that I would have done. My advice to you is don't try to focus on one area of your life and neglect the other, because eventually that stuff is going to come back up to the surface. And before we move on, it has come to my attention that only about 4 to 5% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed to my channel. And we got to get that number way up. So if you are enjoying this video or any other video that I have created, it would mean the world to me if you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button, because that does help me to create videos like this for y'all, especially the review videos for y'all every single week. So let's get back to it. The third thing we got to talk about is this list that Leah, Kelly, Rowland, whoever had, right? She had a list of 11 things, as Black people say, on this list. And she was like, my future partner has to check off all of these different boxes. Now, according to this movie, the list is not even supposed to be a thing. You're supposed to rip up the list or whatever. I don't know. I've never, ever read Relationship Goals, the book by Mike Todd. And I never will, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. I don't think there's anything wrong with writing a list, writing down the things that you want in a partner. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that that is very important, and it's something that you should do so you can get crystal clear on what you're looking for. Having those things abstractly in your brain and just floating around like, yeah, I think I want somebody who's this, and I think I want somebody who believes in God, and I think I want somebody who's 6 feet. Like, forget about the thinking, put it down on paper. Now, I believe it needs to be realistic. Don't have 11 things on there and you're so granular with it that it just don't make any sense. I don't want you to be like, his pinky toe can't be, like, please be for real. But I do want you to focus on the non-negotiables, the things that you are not willing to waver on, period. The things that you value most, right? It's like, if family is important to you, or starting a family, or him being in a good space, or your partner being in a good space with their family, put that on the list, put that at the top. If it's important to you that they are a person of faith or your same religion, put that in there, right? If it's important to you that they're thoughtful and kind, put that on the list. Don't get so caught up in the small details of the thing that you miss the grand picture. That's how some of us are losing out on our partner, because we envision this perfect person in our head, and then when we meet people and they don't match that, we're like, ew, that's not it. When God was trying to send you somebody that you actually needed, not just what you wanted on paper. God has a way of doing that, right? We'll give him our list, and the word says that he'll give us the desires of our heart. We're here for that. I'm glad that he will. But at the same time, we have to be realistic. We might say, oh, I want, a Method Man look-alike. I want a 6'4", chiseled, bearded, blah, 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 fill in the blank. And then God sends you a 5'9", man that, may not have a six-pack, but he works out and he's kind and he's everything else on your list, but you're discarding him because he's not over 6 feet. It's those things that puts us in a position of like, do we really want somebody that's gonna rock with us long term? Or are we just that superficial? That's another conversation for another day. Because God is always going to give you what you need, right? And oftentimes he's going to give someone that's going to help you grow and evolve, and that's going to challenge you spiritually, not just so y'all can be looking good on the gram. People say like they don't write the list or whatever the case may be. We write lists for everything else. We write lists for our career goals. We write lists when we go to the grocery store. We write lists for everything. So why wouldn't we write lists for one of the most important decisions of your life? I firmly believe that if you desire marriage and you desire children, those are the 2 most important decisions that you will ever make in your whole entire life. Who you marry and who you have children with. So why wouldn't we write it down? Why wouldn't we be as concise as possible? Why wouldn't we do those things? So that whole ripping up the list, I don't know if I believe in that. At the end of the day, at least I'm gonna write the list and take it to God and say, Lord, purify this list, meaning take out the things that you don't want me to have for a partner and put in some things that I didn't even think about. Give the list to God instead of ripping it up. Let's get into my personal opinions a little bit about this show. Well, a lot of bit about this show. I've never read Relationship Goals by Mike Todd, and I never will. I'm just gonna keep it 100. He's not really my favorite person, so to speak. I got introduced to him from his series that he did years ago, I think like 6-7 years ago, called Crazy Faith. Right? And at that time in my life, I was going through a lot and I was believing God for some big, crazy, grand things. So it really spoke to me. I'm the type of person that like, take the meat, spit out the bones, right? I take what was, what was good and what the Holy Spirit was dropping in nuggets that I can grab, and the other stuff that was like, nah, bro, I left that, right? But that's how I was introduced to him. But when he got on his journey and started doing other things, my spirit just wasn't settled with some of the things that he was doing. And my discernment tends to be pretty high. And so it's just a no for me in regards to him. No shade, no disrespect, but he's just not my preference. What bothered me while I was watching this movie was how much Mike Todd represent Transformation Church, relationship goals, YouTube guru, whatever they were saying to him, like how much of that was mentioned throughout this entire movie. I feel like they mentioned Mike Todd's name in this book way more than they even mentioned Jesus. And this is supposed to be a faith-based movie. DeVon Franklin typically produces faith-based content, right? And so I'm gonna need for y'all to say Jesus more than y'all say Mike Todd, please. Felt like a lot of promo in a sense for this book. It was like the book was like the thing. It gave me Think Like a Man. What is it called? Is that the movie, the Steve Harvey? Yeah, Think Like a Man. It gave me that kind of vibe where people were going through their own different relationship journeys and they got this book and they were trying to navigate their life through this book and all of those things. It gave me that kind of energy. I personally didn't like super duper love this movie. Like, it was amazing, the best movie ever. But I also didn't hate it either. It was kind of just like in the middle for me. I enjoyed it. It was a good, kiki, a good laugh. I love seeing two black, fine main actors. We know Kelly Rowland and we know Method Man is fine in their own respectful rights, okay? So it was nice seeing that, but it definitely gave like black rom-com. It definitely gave a little cheesy. It definitely gave me a little bit of a Lifetime movie vibe. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shade to that because there is a whole genre of people. It's a whole freaking network at this point who enjoy those types of movies. And I think I kind of like seeing like a black rom-com where there wasn't as much trauma or tension like we see with other movies or shows like Tyler Perry stuff where it was just like struggle love, like we didn't see that necessarily with this. I can appreciate that if I'm being honest. I thought that Kelly and Method Man had inconsistent chemistry on screen. And this is just me and my preference. There were moments where I was like, ooh, they go good together on screen. Like, this is working, especially when they went on their little date and they said that they were gonna put their differences aside and they went to dinner and they were kikiing and laughing. I was like, okay, this is cute. They do got good vibes on camera, on screen. And then like other scenes, I was like, this ain't giving what it needs to give, So it was kind of inconsistent for me. I think they are both great actors in their own rights. Separately. I also feel like it worked for this movie as much as possible. Now, they did not have to do us like that with Method Man, though. Having Method Man with no shirt on, in his underwear, I was like, Lord, please guard my eye gates. Peekaboo, please, Lord. Guard my eye gates because y'all know this man is too fine. Why y'all got him in his drawers with no shirt on in this scene? Like, this is crazy. But overall, if I had to give it a rating, I would probably give it like a 7.5. I can absolutely tell that they had a higher budget for this show compared to some of DeVon Franklin's other movies that he created and produced, right? Because if you think about it, the one that he produced before this one, Ruth and Boaz, which I'll link up here and put it in the description because I did a review on that and y'all love that review. So if you want to check that out, please do so as well. But comparing the two, you can see that there was a difference in budget. That's my thoughts from a therapist perspective and also my personal opinions as well. But again, I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section and what did you think about it? Because there was split reviews online. Some people were like, Black people are never grateful, like we say we don't want trauma and struggle love and then we get a show that doesn't include that and we hate it. Like we don't know what we want. And I get that. I get that energy and I want us to, be able to support Black production companies and, all of the things of the world of DeVon Franklin's, especially the faith-based, element to it. I want that. And I believe that he said in an interview that he signed a deal for 3 movies. So I know Ruth and Boaz was one, Relationship Goals was one. So there has to be another one coming out as well. I don't know what that is, but I am anticipating another faith-based, hopefully Christ-based, okay? Because I don't even know if Method Man is a believer. Because didn't they chop off the head of Jesus while he was on the cross when he was in the Wu-Tang Clan? But that's another conversation for another day. Anywho, let me hop off of here. Thank you so much for watching another review on my channel. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Be blessed. Bye.